West is here. His debut album, The College Dropout.
And the British writer Joanne Rowling.
The magic of Harry Potter has always been in the words.
It's Leviosa.
Volate ascendere!
It's no accident that the magic in the wizarding world comes from words in the form of spells, both words of love and words of hate. There are words in this world that inspire, that captivate, that cast protection, but there are other words that go unsaid, and there are words that we dare not speak.
Voldemort.
Words can be torture, and in some cases, words can kill. I think that's very much by design. J.K. Rowling is no slouch of a writer. She herself created these words that cast spells on millions of people around the world. The words she put down in the Sorcerer's Stone and the several books and spin-offs that followed it are, in their totality, words of love and acceptance, and they are words that have transcended language and gender barriers. Her words and the work that is composed of them have given so many of us a place where we belong, even if that place did not or does not exist in the real world. Her words about the strength of love and bravery and tolerance in the face of evil and fear is one that I think contributed heavily to the millennial generation, the most important generation in terms of advancing ideas of inclusion, a generation who believes in chasing your dreams, bending the rule, and challenging authority. In my Order of the Phoenix video, I explained why that book, and more specifically that film, is about tolerance and trust in how listening to the lived experiences of other people who don't look like us is the means through which we might make room for hope in a world where it has grown ever more scarce. Even today, there are people who cling to Rowling's words because they bring hope in places where it's most desperately needed. People who are oppressed, ridiculed, excluded, shunned, or otherwise in desperate need of help have always found it in her books because
help would always be given at Hogwarts.
So it was shocking to me and the whole world, Hermione included, to discover that Jo Rowling, the one who created a place of such tolerance and such acceptance, such importance to so many people who need it, a place where she literally said that magic is used in universe for gender affirmation to wizards who identify as witches, somehow outed herself as a fucking Death Eater. Someone whose perspective of the world is so warped that she's tolerant only of a selective group of women but not others. Someone who is incapable of the very sympathy she wrote into so many of her characters. Her words have changed. Her charms are now curses, some of which are unforgivable. The magic of her words has turned dark. As I rewatched the Harry Potter series after Thanksgiving, a film series that in my top 10 Thanksgiving movies that aren't actually about Thanksgiving list, by the way, go check that one out. I felt really guilty. On the one hand, I love everything that Harry Potter is about and represents. At its core, it's about how love conquers hate and how there's room for everyone in this world. But on the other, I can't stand the bigotry that its creator has become synonymous with and how she has betrayed the love and the trust that so many have placed in her.
Tell them how you looked him in the eye. A man who trusted you and killed him.
And then last week, the same week that I'm rewatching Harry Potter, this shit happens again with another artist that I once loved. Someone who used to preach about the importance of love and acceptance, someone who showed me a side to the world that I had never experienced, only to come out as a dangerous bigot spewing hateful rhetoric and ignorance. Someone whose past literary work I could get behind, but who has become an entirely different person since they introduced me to the side of life that brought me a sense of catharsis and understanding. Which begs the question, is it okay to still love art in spite of its creator? That's a difficult question to come to grips with. It's a hard one to answer, and it's one that I think is worth exploring, which is why today's video is dedicated to this very topic, and we're exploring this idea through the lens of the wizarding world and the impact that it's had on so many people and what we can learn from it and how we can potentially grow and move forward and determine how we interact with artists and the work that they create. In today's world, the way that it's designed, the way that it's all set up, to appreciate an artist means to give that artist in some form or another power. Sometimes it's, in the case of royalties, kickbacks, financial gain, licensing power. Other times it's simply speaking their name and giving them attention, which enhances the reach and awareness that their aggressive rhetoric has because you're putting their name and their platform out there.
We do not speak his name.
That's a horrible precedent to set, and if you feel like you can't enjoy the wonderful things that somebody has made in a different lifetime when they were a different person, trust me, I empathize with you. I admire the fact that you've given up on something that was once so meaningful and important to you because you can no longer accept what its creator has come to represent, and your dedication to the principle of it all. It's a powerful thing. Trust me, I know how hard it is to give up something that you love, and you are a powerful person for being able to do that in the name of something bigger than yourself. And on the other side of this are the people who separate the art from the artist and continue to love the thing without loving the person who made the thing. I also empathize with you. I know how hard it is to feel guilty for loving a thing, especially when the thing has given and continues to give so much love and joy to you and the rest of the people in the world. And I respect it because I know that for many of us, acceptance and tolerance is hard to come by, and we need to take it where we can get it, whether it's in the halls of Hogwarts or pumping through our speakers for the dropouts among us. It's not easy to continue to fight for and defend the thing that you love, especially if you are Jewish or trans and the person who gave you that thing demonstrates that they do not love you back. It is its own form of bravery to stand by and fight for what it means to you.
It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends.
I have weighed these feelings back and forth and fall slightly more, I think, in the side of separating the art from the artist. I find it to be a bit of a spectrum more than a binary, and that belief I hold certainly has its limits. Where I draw the line is when words that cast their magic or captivate a crowd actively incite danger and harm for other people, especially those who do not look like me or share my beliefs. It was J.K. Rowling and Kanye West themselves who inspired that kind of thinking and that sort of belief system that I hold. Now, in the case of Kanye West, whose words do actively incite danger towards an oppressed group and willfully spread misinformation about historical atrocities that are matters of fact, I cannot separate the art from the artist. I can appreciate that Kanye West was once a prolific, important, and amazing person, but right now he's a sympathizer for anti-Semitic murderers and actively encourages violence against a historically oppressed group. For that reason, I do not support any of his work, no matter who he used to be or what his music used to be like, no matter what his views used to be or what his music once meant. Because he still holds power over a message and a platform that continues to be supported every time someone streams a second of Graduation. Doesn't matter if it's old Ye or new Ye, supporting his art directly supports the artist and extends his hateful platform and his harmful rhetoric. But when it comes to Harry Potter, I feel a bit differently. I feel I can separate the art from the artist in a way that reduces harm, because in the case of Rowling, she has already lost her power and control over the art and never will influence it again. Now, as far as the IP goes, sure, she'll continue to make her nut off of anything Wizard World, but the past couple of box offices and the mobs on Twitter and the response that HBO has had shows that the work no longer truly belongs to J.K. Rowling. She sold off the rights to Warner Brothers for the IP. She doesn't make any additional money when you stream Prisoner of Azkaban. Trust me, the $11 a month that I make off of you watching and subscribing to my channel is more than Rowling makes off of your HBO Max subscription. And one thing that got me genuinely excited about this Hogwarts Legacy game is that in early game footage of Hogwarts Legacy, despite Rowling's words, the character creation screen starts to sort of suggest that trans students will be accepted at Hogwarts in some form. It looks like you'll be able to identify as a witch or wizard indiscriminately, and the game will respect that choice. In our own world, many trans and non-binary people have gotten Harry Potter-inspired tattoos as a middle finger to Rowling, showing them that she has no power over their identity, and that she cannot use the thing that gave them power to be themselves against them. As long as the Harry Potter franchise continues to encourage a life of tolerance, acceptance, hope, and support, while reminding us that there will always be some kind of evil we will need to overcome, whether it's genocidal fascists or an out-of-touch bigot, it will continue to be something that creates more good than bad in this world. And until it stops being that, I personally feel comfortable separating the art from the artist. The magic in Harry Potter has always been in the words. And for a long time, the words were the words of Rowling herself, but as her words went from words of acceptance to words of ignorance, the magic of the wizarding world, and by extension its IP, stopped belonging to her.
I sense its allegiance has changed.
The magical words of the Wizarding World now belong to millions of other people, trans people among them. She's cashed in her chips and her cultural cachet already, and she made off with quite the payout. She can say whatever the fuck she wants, but she'll never have a seat at the table again. Never again will her words impact the love and acceptance that we've all found at Hogwarts. She's as relevant to the world now as the Horcrux that attached itself to Harry.
Something beyond either of our hope.
And like that same Horcrux, it was the creator themselves who destroyed it because hate does more harm to the person who hates. I feel comfortable returning to Hogwarts this year and probably will continue to feel comfortable doing so next year if the Wizarding World continues to remain in the possession of the people whose words are words of love. If there's anything Harry Potter can teach us about the relationship between the art and the artist, it's the damage that words can cause, the power that a book can have to heal or harm us. But those words are not written in stone. We have the ability to take control of those words, to rewrite them, and to separate the good from the evil. In fact, it's important that we always try to do that, to revisit our relationship with the work that means so much to us over and over, to find new meaning or preserve the meaning that the work originally held. But like in the world of Harry Potter, the forces of evil will always return in some form, seeking to use those words against us, and we must be ready when it does to excise it from our lives with bravery, tolerance, and acceptance. And sometimes that means moving on from something that once provided us value but no longer does, and sometimes that just means getting rid of the part of it that's toxic.
Words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic.